Yeah. So, what did you learn most in your first couple of years in the league? Even just about, the O-line position itself.
Forget, forget. Like you have to, especially at the O line position, like shit's gonna go wrong. You know what I'm saying? Those guys get paid too, whether it's a sack, a penalty, and things of that sort. And one thing, my first couple of years, I was stressed out so much, and I think took a toll on me was that whenever I did fuck up, I would hold it against myself and like really dwell on it for days, and even the best guys I've seen who make mistakes, one of the best things they do is also just move on and attack, get to the next rep and just perform and those guys are the ones that end up being some of the best players. So for me, one big thing was just letting things go and just letting things be. If things messed up, I would not let it roll into another play and not overanalyze things. Obviously being at the highest level, everything's constantly being critiqued. So you start to put
Hmm.
yourself in that mindset. You start to roll with that mentality of like, okay, is this look good? Is that good? Sometimes you just have to say like, what I'm saying? Like, fuck it, let it ride, and next play is the next play, or whatever happened, happened.
Yeah. Did you ever have a guy that was kind of your mentor in the league, another guy on one of your teams?
Yeah, I think two guys actually played me in New York. Um, you know, three guys actually, two guys, Willie Colon and Breno Giacomini. And then when I played in Houston and also in Seattle with me, Dwayne Brown, he's a guy, what I'm saying, I always looked up to as far as, the way he conducted himself and what he stood for and the way he went about his business too. Because he wasn't always like, like your most typical left tackle, but
Hmm.
he was super efficient and solid, and he believed in himself and what he was able to do. And for me, that gave me a lot of confidence as well. But Willie Colon and Bruno Giacomini were still today my brothers I talk to left and right all the time.
Yeah. Was then there a certain play style that you started to gain more likeness towards the farther you got in the league, as far as, focusing more on technique and efficiency versus, overall power?
Yeah, for me, it was, one thing about the league will teach you is you can't just rely on being the fastest and strongest and quickest. Like, it's going to come down to technique and things like that. So for me, after my first year, that following year, I went into training camp. And before that, I worked on a lot of technique all off season, technique, steps, hand placement, etc. And I'm really trying to refine that. And I think it helped me a lot going into my second year and I thought I made a huge jump in my second year of my career, and I was able to start, that season and play and perform at a high level as well, because I started to understand that my technique was going to take me farther than just strength and speed or whatever
Mhm.
quickness would have.
Yeah. Was there a drill that had in high school, college, that you found was still super effective for improving your technique all the way through each level?
Uh, yeah, you know what, and I will, and one thing, this drill is 50-50 because I hate it and I love it too, is one-on-ones.
Yeah.
I think any lineman doesn't like to do one-on-ones against a D lineman because he has a two-way go, right? And
Right.
I think one thing about one-on-ones people need to I think help linemen understand, or if they looked at it this way, I feel like would probably see it as a better way of doing things. The fact that like if it's practice, then when you do one-on-ones, like you should want to win the rep, obviously, but like you should try shit. You should really like just say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna try shit," and I don't care who's watching. If it works, it works. If not, then I know. Then hey, I can at least see, And that's one thing. A lot of guys I feel like just go out during one-on-ones and try to do everything to play safe, and I do that as well too. And it takes a lot for some shit for me to really think about to be like, okay, you know what, this time I'm gonna just throw this hand instead of this hand, and I'm gonna just see whatever happens. And like, so as much as that drill sucks, I think it's important to like when you do that drill, like you should go into it just with the mentality that like, hey, it's practice, and obviously like, you're able to, understand what's gonna work and what's not gonna work.
Yeah. Great. So then, we're kind of segueing into the portion that, a lot of guys look forward to in this is, I get asked a lot about, do I have any advice to get into the NFL, and the fact is I don't, because I never made it to the NFL. So I'm not really the best source. So other than forget every play, the overanalyzing that stuff you talked about, do you have any advice for people that are trying to push to make it to that next step?
Yeah, honestly, one piece of advice I would say, and this really goes for anybody trying to accomplish anything, maybe at the highest level or trying to innovate anything, is like you have to trust your vision, right? In order to do something, in order to perform in life, I believe you have to be a visionary. You have to understand that there's a vision. You have to see yourself doing it. You have to see yourself making that play, inventing that product, making that pitch, whatever it may be, making that investment. Like you have to really truly believe in that vision. And 10 out of 10 times, no one's ever going to see that vision like you will, and no one will ever see it through your eyes. So there's going to be people all the time that'll tell you, hey, that's a waste of money, or hey, you'll never make that, or that's a bad idea, that's a bad product. But if you truly believe in something and you truly run with your vision, sky's the limit as far as what, what I'm saying, what you'll be able to accomplish as far as anything in life. And you'll see it too. If you can really envision it, you'll be successful. If you envision it and you think in your mind, what I'm saying, like I kind of see it, then you probably kind of will make it, But if you could really see yourself in that position and see yourself at that level and doing what you want to do, I truly think you'll put yourself in that position. You'll be ready for it.
Huh. Yeah, that's really good. I think a lot of times people talk about manifesting your visions, and people, even like people like LeVar Ball, have taken a lot of flack in the past for some of the things that they've said, but I'm a proponent of, at the same time, speak it into existence. And if there's something you really want, you can go for it. So yeah,
Yep.
that's really good advice, especially because it doesn't just apply to football. It applies to life. And that's one of the things I do want to gain from this podcast is greater life advice than just football. Cause like you said, football's not forever.